these two pellets had big turds on the skirt.
1071.
Well, the first one definitely acted like it did. And the second one wasn't too bad. All right, welcome back, guys. I'm going to preface this with that Murphy guy. He really doesn't make life easy. So one of the problems that I'm having as a beginning air gunner is, since I have very little exposure to any of this stuff, I'm constantly up against Murphy and Murphy's Law. If what can go wrong will. The main problem with that is there's so many variables, right? So as soon as I addressed one variable, these other variables are affecting what's happening, so I can't really test that one variable. I guess the only way to go around this would be to shoot indoors at a set range all the time, right? So I'm dealing with jungle conditions of rain and humidity and wind and storms passing in and out. And when I say storm, they're not like huge storms or anything, but they're weather systems. So what I'm dealing with today is gusty wind conditions. I set up my gun at the house last night and I put myself a little dope chart on here on my different velocities in like different parts of the tune. And up here, as usual, everything has changed. We have a lot more humidity up here in the jungle than we do at my house, which is a little bit more of a deserty landscape, except for in the evenings where the humidity rises. But up here, we're right on the verge of raining at all times, so the air is a lot thicker. It's a little bit cooler up here, but it doesn't feel cooler because it's so humid. My gun is shooting about 35 feet per second slower when I get up here than it is at my house, and I'm starting to kind of see that pattern of speed. I can make note of that now. For instance, if I'm shooting power wheel 6 at my house at 10:30, when I come up to here it was shooting 10:02, and so I have to, if I get something set up at my house, I deal with that. I have it zeroed on my turrets at the house, and I get up here and it'll shoot half a mil left. So I gotta dial the 5, and then the gun cools down in my case, where I'm shooting it faster, and the temperature of the bottle and stuff cools down, and the point of impact will shift, a half a mil to the right or something like that. And then what makes it harder for me is I have these gusting winds, and because it's this mountainous kind of terrain, you can see there's a big pile of rocks behind me, and then it goes into a ditch on the other side of that, and then up a hill, and then the wind can't get through those trees, but it can gust right up the rock wall back there where I shoot at the mongoose. And then here I've got a big tree in front of me, which you guys have seen in other videos, and then right after that it's open grass landscape where the wind can rip through, and then there's a bunch of cane grass, so it can't rip through that section. So every like 15 yards I'm dealing with these different winds, and I think that's a lot of my issue. Been unwilling to accept that. I'm faced with the fact that I need to accept that now. I don't know. Sometimes I can shoot super tight groups and there's no wind, but then sometimes I'm shooting and I know it's windy and it's shooting tight groups, and maybe that's just because the air is consistent and I've dialed my turrets or whatever to adjust for that. That's a little off topic from what I wanted to talk about today, but that's something that I'm actually dealing with. I'm shooting that same 65 yards that I was yesterday, and I'm just kind of getting different results. Some of them way better, which I'm going to talk about real quick, and some of them worse because of these gusting conditions that I've got. What I did last night, I told you guys I've been dealing with these pellets that have been coming with nasty, like, chunks on their skirts. And obviously you guys are air gunners, you know that when you have a little chunk on your skirt and it's like almost a half a grain difference or something. I'm not weighing them, so I don't know for sure, but I imagine those little chunks are a half a grain difference, so you guys won't be able to see, but this one is one that's fine. It has a little tiny little maybe ding thing on the skirt here, but I don't think that that's changing like the weight of the pellet. And we look at this one here, there's a little sliver of lead right on the skirt, and that probably makes like maybe 0.2 difference in grains. And so that's where we can't keep that half-inch groove. That might seem like obvious, but I mean, it is obvious, but at the same time, it kind of isn't, because a lot of them have that and they're shooting real consistent. So that's what I've been dealing with. What I did last night is I didn't want to go through, like this one's a really bad one right here. Let's see if we can get the camera to focus on that at all. See that like chunk of booger in there? My plan last night was to try and get rid of most of that. So what I did is I opened, this is a JSB tin, and I guess I should talk about that for a second. This has the foam pads in it, and it's a little bit bigger tin. The Crosman Premiers come packed in smaller tins, and they're really tight. To lube them, I spray the tin. This is a 68 whiskey tip. I'm using WD-40 silicone. I have access to that. I don't have access to Ballistol or whatever, because I'm on an island. It's hard to ship aerosol products in. They have to come by boat. It takes weeks. A lot of mail order companies, they're shipping priority mail or whatever, and it gets flagged and you can't ship it, so I just can't even order it. Pretty much can't order anything on Amazon. Nothing will ship because it's got a lithium battery or aerosol or flammable or something, so you can't get anything shipped. It's hard. And that's again why I want to shoot the premieres, because I can go to Walmart and get pellets and they'll have them probably. I have a old brass tumbler. I used to reload in the 90s when I was a kid with my dad, and we used to reload 30-06 and 357 ammo. We had this brass tumbler. It was a big brass tumbler, and my father and I would tumble these 30-06 brass, and we used to separate the brass because our guns were auto loaders. The brass would resize a little bit differently in both of our guns. I shot my dad's, or he shot mine, or something like that. The guns would jam, and we used to shoot these 30-06s like they were BB guns. We would just go and we would just hose hundreds of rounds through these 30-06s and probably shoot the barrels out of them, but we didn't care because we were just shooting mud puddles with open sights at basically, I don't know, 20 to 50 yards and just watching the mud fly 60 feet up into the sky. So we had this old brass tumbler, and after my dad died, it was in storage for a long time, and I just brought it to Hawaii about a year ago. Funny story, I packed it into a backpack that I carried on, because when I go to the mainland, I don't really take anything with me. So I had my big Iron Man backpack, and I threw this huge tumbler inside there, and I didn't think about it, but it was full of casings and gunpowder, about a damn decade of doing brass stuff in it. So TSA pulls this thing out. It's got cords. It's a big plastic ball. It's got gunpowder residue and stuff all over it. The guy's kind of looking at it real curious. It looks like a big damn bomb. It's even red. I said, hey man, you can open it up. It's a brass tumbler. It's going to be full of gunpowder inside, gunpowder residue. I go, you can dump everything out, but I go, if I can keep the tumbler, I wish that I could. I don't know, it's got a little bit of sentimental value because it's something that I did with my dad before he died when I was little. Anyway, long story short, we dumped it in the trash can, and all this, I think it was 357 brass and black, media was pouring out into this trash can right there at the security. Hilarious. Anyway, they let me on the plane. Didn't even frisk me that time. Back when I used to have a shaved head, I used to get frisked every single time I traveled. I was always unanimously chosen. So back on track. So I took a brand new Crosman Premier tin. I emptied out half of the pellets into an empty Crosman Premier tin, and I put the caps back on, and I threw them inside this brass tumbler, and I tumbled them for, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes. And then I took those tins out and took the lids off, and I poured them into clean rags that you would just, I don't know, get at the auto parts store or whatever. I just sifted them back and forth through these, we'll call it like cheesecloth type things, to get all the metal flaky stuff off. I didn't clean them at that point, and in hindsight, they feel a little rough around the edges because they beat up against each other inside the tin, which is the point. They kind of self-tumbled each other. I probably should have lubed them a little bit better, but I didn't. But I did lube them. I sprayed the foam, and I lubed them inside the tin, but they feel a little bit rough, so that could be an improvement. But for the most part, it got the boogers out of the skirts. I can see that if I washed them, it probably would have cleaned a little bit more out of there. But that was my test for today. And at my house last night and here today, I feel like they are shooting a lot better. But now that I inspect them up here, I can find quite a few that still have little boogers in there. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to put these into the tumbler and shake them even more. And then I am going to clean them and rub them down with a microfiber tip. Sorry, I don't know his name, but he comments in there. Don't remember his handle, I should say. I'll clean them and lube them with a microfiber. In general, these really nasty looking pellets look quite a bit better than they did, and they seem to be shooting better than they did. Unfortunately, I have these gusting winds that I can't tell for sure if they are or not, but they seem to at my house. In the last video, the group at the very end that several people have commented on that video about, that looked like it was pretty tight. It was pretty tight. It's probably 3/4 of an inch with the little flyer that was in there, but I can get those like premieres to shoot these 1/2 inch groups at 50 yards at my house. And some of them are doing that, and you'll see in the scope cam footage that some of them are doing that, but some of them aren't. And I think it's just because the wind shifts and then it dies off and my point of impact changes, and then it'll pick up again. And I can't tell how much it's blowing down there because it's blowing differently where I'm sitting than down there, because there's no, I'm not in a vacuum here. I'm not in a place with banks or anything. I've got a damn ocean that I can see there, a beautiful blue Hawaiian ocean, and I've got a 10,000 foot mountain right here and rain clouds. It's making it really tough for me to sort through these variables. You guys could try that, maybe let me know. Tumble them in a brass tumbler, and I just did it. Let's use this as an example. I just did it inside the tin with it about half full so that they could just knock each other to bits. The skirts aren't bent or anything, so it shouldn't be so rough that it screws those up. I'll reveal the second part of this. I wasn't going to until I tried it, but what I'm going to do is I have an ultrasonic cleaner too for motorcycle carburetors and fuel injectors and things like that. So I'm going to tumble these, then I'm going to put them in an ultrasonic cleaner, and maybe I'll put some sort of a solvent or soap or something in there to try and clean that off, and to clean this like oxidative feel that I kind of got from after the tumbling. This is a little bit against what I've been trying to do, where I've been trying to shoot these things just straight from the tins and find that magical velocity to shoot them at based on how crappy they're shooting. Like I commented in the last video, like maybe if they have perfect skirts, I can shoot them at my house at 850 feet per second or 971, one of those places, and they'll shoot really good. And I could shoot them fast if I wanted to. But if they have boogery skirts like these, maybe I just have to put them at 1070. That's what I'm finding right now. They were shooting really good at 1035 at my house last night, and so I set my 0 on my scope for that and was like, okay, maybe that's my new magical number. And then I came up here and 1035 shoots okay, but 1070 is shooting quite a bit better. So I'm shooting 1070 up here now. They're getting better groups. Not that I can ever capture any of these on camera. For whatever reason, I can shoot 5 damn groups perfectly, and I'm like, okay. And I'll even leave the camera like on, but not recording. I'll shoot the groups, and they're beautiful, and then I'm just like, okay, and I just hit record, and then I shoot, and it's shooting like 2 inches off. I'm very, very frustrated by that, because I want to show you guys the data, but I can't. I'm trying to be very, very honest and transparent, and I'm trying to get the gun kind of dialed in so I can tell you my settings before I hit record, but it's just not happening that way. I'm glad that some people seem to be enjoying these videos still, and you're seeing that my struggle is real, but I'm trying to record, so without seeing it on camera, you just have to believe me. And since you don't know me as a human being, I wouldn't expect you to believe me. That would be fucking absurd. But if you do believe, then I'll tell you the settings, and I'm not a liar type. I don't like to try and cover up bullshit. It's just not the way I work. So I'll just tell you what I think, and that doesn't mean I'm not wrong. If I tell you on video and I can't show it to you, I know it to be true. Sometimes I just can't prove it, because every time I turn this fucking camera on, I can't capture it. Every once in a while, I can capture half of it for you, which is kind of what you guys are seeing. So that's what I did. That's where I'm at. Long-winded video. I could give you guys a whole lot more content, but I don't want to try and bore you to tears. So I tumbled the pellets. I plan on tumbling and ultrasonic cleaning them after they're tumbled, which really is kind of a set and forget. And hopefully I can just clean these up and get these things to shoot, because I think the design of the pellet is probably really good. Just think that they're so bulk mass produced that they're not shooting great. I have shot the Benjamin Discoveries, and I don't know for sure, but I think those pellets might be a little bit more refined. Like maybe when they start getting past a certain tolerance, they start chopping up Crosman Premiers and selling them to Walmart for cheaper. The Benjamins are the nicer version, but like I said, I don't know for sure. In my P-Rod, I have maybe a little bit better results with the Benjamin Discoveries, which are effectively the same pellet, but I think slightly cleaner. But my P-Rod's a whole nother story, because it was an unregulated gun and I was trying to push the limits with it all the time. Probably bring the P-Rod on the channel here at some point, because a lot of people like the P-Rods, and it is a really fun gun to shoot, because it's like a pistol. It is a pistol technically. It's really light and fun to move around, as long as you got kind of a decent scope on it. Anyway, I'm going to add some more scope cam footage here, and maybe I'll split it up into 2 videos because it's too long. All right, so I just printed a mark on that target. We're shooting at that 1030 zone. Testing new breakthrough maybe.
1035. 1000. 33. 1,042.
Guess I should have let you know this is 66 yards.
1,040.
We're a little high on that one.
1,035.
Wind's picking up.
1,038.
Damn it. Alright, we gotta wait a second.
A few minutes later.
Alright, probably gonna be waiting forever for the wind, so I'm just gonna go
1,038. 1,032.
66 yards again here. I continue to feel like this gun is very hold sensitive.
1,042.
Okay, clearly need to make an adjustment here.
1,039.
That one hit the hole.
1,047. 1,039. 1,048. 1,035. 1,039. 1,040. 1,037. 1,042. 1,043.
So that was a flyer.
1,038. 1,035. 1,035.
That was a flyer.
1,042. 1,039.
Alright, so I think you get the point on that. My whole entire focus of that group was getting basically the exact same hold. Some of these problems I'm having might be my hold because I'm on various different rock walls with, sometimes I'm using just a towel to rest on, sometimes I have this crappy cheap sandbag, and I think that this gun is really, really hold sensitive. And the fact that the scope cam comes on and off, or the camera itself is on and off, it might change my cheek pressure. But you can see that group right there, a lot of those, that was obviously not a 5-shot group, a lot of those were sitting right in there. And the few that missed were like barely missing, and then we had like 2 flyers that popped up in here or whatever. But I'm going to investigate a little bit more today on top of the other things I'm investigating, hold pressure, and just trying to see how much difference that makes. I know it makes a big difference in general in air guns. I'm not naive to that. But I think this gun might be a little extra sensitive to it. Let's just go center.
1,066.
All right, that's our hold spot. You can hear where we're at.
1,070. 1,073. 1,000.
Wow, that was a wicked flyer there. Crap, which spot was I at? I think that one.
1,074. 1,070.
Shit, double feed. I'm thinking that those 2 were actually the wind.
1,070. 1,071. 1,079. 1,071. 1,074. 1,073. 1,074. 1070. 1074. 1068. 1070.
All right, so you can see in that group how they were landing like in different spots 3 at a time. I'm thinking that that is my winds, and frankly I just don't understand how much the wind affects pellets. I just haven't had to deal with it, and I haven't had to deal with it in my house. So up here we have these basically tunnels of wind, and I get pretty confused why my groups change all the time. But you can see like it grouped real tight right there for a few shots, and then it grouped right there for a few shots, and then it grouped in the center for a few shots, and then it grouped down here for a few shots. So when it's doing that consistently, I have a hard time believing that it's not an outside factor like the wind or something, because I'm trying to hold pretty close to the same all the time. You can get to print really, really tight groups at my house, like ½ inch quite often. If I find a sweet spot in the velocity, that is, I can get them to group a lot tighter. This is a little further. This is that 65, 66 yards. But you can see the elephant grass down there blowing around, and it's gusting in the trees like above me and stuff half the time. So I'm thinking a lot of that is wind. That's still that like a 4-inch spinner, right? So let's call that, I don't know, whatever, a 3-inch group. All right, guys, let's keep it interesting here, and we're going to take it out to what I believe to be about 95 yards. I can't get the rangefinder with the grass and the background and stuff to pick up that target because I can't basically hold it still enough. But the gong back there, the frying pan, that thing is sitting on right at 100. And so I think this is about 95. My parallax adjustment would lead me to believe that it is. I don't really use my ballistics app thing anymore because the conditions up here, like sometimes it's super accurate and sometimes it's not. So I just kind of dial it in when I don't know with a couple of walk-in shots, which for transparency, you can see them down there. Like, look at that freaking group right there. That's 3 shots. A couple that like flew up in here. I was using this as a hold point. That was my like 2nd shot, I think. And I used it to dial in, and I ended up dialing back about 5. So that was where it was shooting. So I should have it shooting pretty center now. And wind is fairly calm, but you can see it's moving metal cans in the tree. But I just shot that group right there with the camera off. So, like, hopefully we'll be somewhat on that. Man, I think that might be a 4-incher. So let's lock in with the Premiers at should be about 1070. I'm going to get the chronograph turned on. And the gun's been sitting a little bit, so the first shots might be in the 1060s. Look at that.
1071. 1076. 1074. 1069.
That was a full miss.
1075.
See my frustrations here? I had all those nice little shots, like 2 inches at 90, and then I had those ones that all stuck on each other, and now it's full missing. So I don't know where it's going because I can't see it.
1000.
And then damn near bullseye. See the wind down there, guys? See the cans flying around in the trees? They're right next to that.
$1,070.
Now you can hear the wind blowing at the muzzle here.
1,000.
That was a flyer. That one was way off to the right.
1,000.
Nick the top.
73.
Ooh, that one just ground in there.
1,000.
Still hit the target.
71.
Go to the bigger one. I'm shooting a little bit high. I'm going to drop that dial back too.
1,070.
All right, empty the mag. You can see we got most of them on there in that wind, right? This isn't strings on the end of a bench rest gun. Those are metal soup cans, 16-ounce soup cans or whatever, in a tree. And that's elephant grass. That's pretty heavy-duty grass, man. There you go. Check it out. Crosman Premier's pretty legit. That spinner right there, when I walked down there, I forgot to tell you guys, that is smaller than I thought it was. That's only a 3-inch. And I believe that's a 5. So that's smaller. That's basically the same size as those Walmart ones. I mean, it might be a little off size or something. I don't have a tape measure to measure it. Let's just start sending them in there. Here we go.
1,069. 1,073.
They're a little low.
70. 1,069. 1,070. 1,076. 1,075. 1,074. 1,074. 1,066. 1,068. 1,073.
Okay, that was like 22 shots, something like that. Average of 1,071. So you're looking on target. Like I said, I think that's 5-inch, and I don't believe we missed at all. I think I heard all of them hit, so we could probably count those up and get it.
1,018. 1,017. 1,011. 1,016. 1,004. 993.
I am a dumbass. We fell off the reg. I wasn't watching my bottle shots. We fell off the reg, and we fell off it by like 16 bar. Don't do that. You're not supposed to. All right, let's go back to the frying pan.
1,074.
Little low.
1,075. 1,079. 1,083. 1,078. 1,076. 1,076. 1,073. 1,073. 1,079. 1,070.
Look at that. It's like the faster I shoot them, the more accurate they get. Okay. That's pretty much all of them right in there. That's about 5 inches at 100 yards. Shooting this damn thing about as fast as I can. Seriously, I can't even shoot it faster because the bag's in the way. If the bag wasn't in the way, I could shoot it faster. But because of my janky rock wall system here, that's as good as I can get it. You just watched it, basically a full magazine, like 25 shots or something at 100 yards, and you can see in the middle of the pan there, hopefully in the camera. Maybe you can't because it's not clear enough, but there's like a 3-inch logo right there, and we were just down below. So once again, I don't know, I'm not a bench rush shooter. I shoot better fast than I do slow. Always have, probably always will. Maybe it's because I get a more consistent hold every time because I'm focusing on the speed and not the hold. Just overthinking things, right? So I shoot better when I shoot fast. 100 yards, frying pan. That's all I got for you guys today. Maybe there'll be some 50-yard hosing in the kind of the credits here. So thanks for watching. Leave comments below. I'll answer what I can. Like I said, I make hours and hours and hours of footage every weekend and only give you guys 20 to 30 minutes of it. See ya.